All right, welcome back. Today we're starting a new topic because we just finished up our test last Thursday. Keep trying to say Friday. Thursday is what we end the weeks on now. So, since we finished up a test on Thursday, you guys have gotten the scores back. We're starting a whole new unit. This is on the law of conservation of energy and types of energy. So, starting out, we need to assess the laws, and then we can move on from there. So, the law of conservation of energy states this. All right, so it states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one type of energy to another. So it can convert an energy from one type to another, but it can't be created. There's no creation of energy. It's just using what's already in the world and putting it to a different use. So one way we can see this is if we have a ledge, and on this ledge there is an egg precariously sitting there. This egg has something called potential energy. Because of its height, because of gravity's pull on it, it has potential energy, the potential to use energy. So this potential energy, due to its height, is up here. Now this potential energy can turn into something else. It can be converted into something else, converted into kinetic energy. Kinetic energy when it's falling. So kinetic energy or the energy of movement. So, starts out with potential energy because it's in a high place, gravity is pulling down on it. If it falls, kinetic energy is the energy of movement as it falls down towards the ground and goes splat. So, potential converted to kinetic. Now, we're going to watch a video. For once, it's not actually mine. We're going to watch someone else's video. And it's going to be about golf and how golf actually uses potential and kinetic energy in every swing. So we'll do that, and then we'll recap, and then I'll have your assignment. Hey, post-filming, currently editing, Mr. Evenson, I found a better video that describes potential and kinetic energy, so there's going to be 2 videos to watch, not just the one about golfing. So enjoy that.
Once upon a time, a very small man had to do battle with a very large giant. The only thing that the small man had going for him was his sling. When he let loose with it, the mass of the stone combined with its speed to give it kinetic energy, with which it was able to do work on the giant, thereby applying force and exerting that force through a distance. The stone had energy thanks to its movement. Indeed, everything that moves has energy, even the air around us. Once air is moving, it has the energy to drive windmills. Just as when water is moving, it has the energy to drive water mills. But if every moving thing has kinetic energy, does that mean that things which aren't moving don't have energy? In that case, why are you staring up at that rock perched on the edge of the cliff? Why be frightened of it? It can't have any kinetic energy because it's not moving. And if it hasn't any kinetic energy, it can't do any work on you, can it? But maybe you'd better move out of the way all the same. Why? Because of the rock's position on the edge of the cliff. It hasn't any movement so far, but it looks as if it's on the point of having quite a lot of movement any minute now. Because the force of gravity wants very much to make it fall off the cliff. That means that in a sense, the rock has a lot of energy stored up in it. A lot of what scientists call potential energy. Or the energy of position. The slightest puff of wind, and that potential energy will immediately start being transformed into kinetic energy. That's how the energy of position becomes the energy of movement. Uh-oh, don't look now. But it's time to use some more kinetic energy to do some more work on that giant. Whoops. Hold on. What's happening? Let's do that again in slow motion. The stone lost more and more speed as it left your sling because of the force of gravity trying to pull it down. The higher it got, the slower it went, and the less kinetic energy it had. Until at last it came to a complete stop and had no kinetic energy left in it at all, and therefore no work in it, and no force that it could exert on the giant. But where did all that kinetic energy go? Is it lost forever? No. It's being transformed into potential energy. The work that the little man put into slinging the stone is now stored up in the stone. But of course, in reality, the stone only stops for a split second, and then immediately starts coming down again, until it has got back all the kinetic energy that it had in the first place. Meanwhile, back at the cliff edge, the giant finds all this very amusing. But he'd better watch out, because most of the kinetic energy it took for him to climb up to the top of the cliff is now stored in him by virtue of his position. He's full of potential energy, just waiting to be converted back into kinetic energy any minute now. Timber!
It's the shot heard round the tee. The big drive down the fairway that can make the difference on any hole.
But you know instantly if you hit it good or you hit it bad. I might be able to get more width in my golf swing, but that's the greatest thing about golf is that everybody has a different golf swing.
Paula Creamer's swing has made her one of the top golfers on the LPGA Tour. In 2014, she sank a 75-foot putt to win an LPGA tournament.
It's a bonus if it goes in. It's almost a miracle.
Though Creamer and other players may have different techniques, all golf swings need energy, specifically potential and kinetic energy, to make the ball go.
A golfer's swing is the most critical part of getting energy into the golf ball.
Potential energy, often called stored energy, is the energy an object possesses due to its position or the arrangements of its parts. Potential energy comes in many types, from the stored chemical energy in dynamite to the elastic energy of a stretched slingshot to the gravitational energy of a roller coaster at the top of a hill.
In order to make anything move, you have to have some form of potential energy. Whether it's a golf ball or an automobile, there's always some form of potential energy that's being converted into kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy is energy that occurs when an object is in motion. It also comes in many types, such as when a cannon is fired. There is kinetic energy in the motion of the cannonball, as well as in its heat and sound.
Are you ready?
Swing away, sister.
To understand the exchange of potential and kinetic energy in golf, we filmed Paula Creamer with a high-speed Phantom camera that captured her swing at up to 10,000 frames per second. During Creamer's backswing, the club has some kinetic energy because it's moving. At the top of the backswing, it also has some gravitational potential energy because of its position. But most of the potential energy here is the chemical energy that will come from Creamer's muscles, which will power her swing.
All of the potential energy in a golf drive is in the body of the golfer. It's chemical potential energy that gets converted by the body into physical motion.
Once the club starts moving in the downswing, this potential energy is transformed into kinetic energy.
The club starts with potential energy, translates all that potential energy into kinetic energy at the bottom of the swing, And that potential energy converts into kinetic energy in the ball as it flies away.
When the club hits the ball is compressed and the shaft of the club bends. In both cases, some of the kinetic energy of the club head is converted into elastic energy. Both the club and the ball snap back, pushing the ball forward with kinetic energy in the form of motion, as well as thermal and sound kinetic energy.
Due to energy losses in the ball, due to energy losses to minor amounts of friction and sound, it's not perfectly translated into the ball.
After the ball is struck, the exchange of potential and kinetic energy continues. This mechanical kinetic energy helps the ball rise into the air, loading it with the potential to fall back to Earth due to gravity.
And then the ball trades potential energy back for kinetic energy as it comes down and hits the ground.
The concepts of potential and kinetic energy are an important part of understanding the STEM principles behind the game, especially to golfers like Paula Creamer, who depend on a solid swing to win championships.
You're so much in control of what you do, and it's fun. It's hard, it's frustrating, yes, but it is so worth it when you're holding a trophy at the end because you did it yourself.
From the backswing to the ball's landing, potential energy and kinetic energy are a part of every shot in golf.
All right, so we saw that the golfer, it uses both potential and kinetic energy in every swing. So we're gonna have a poorly drawn golfer over here. They're really focusing. There's their golf club. There's the ball. And there's the field. All right, so we have the golfer in this frame. They're about to hit this ball. So up here, we have potential energy. Potential energy because this golf club is raised up high. Now, we also have potential energy right here. Potential energy in the ball because it's sitting there. It's sitting there with a lot of what's called elastic energy because it'll squish when the golf club will hit it. So let's go to the next frame here. Here we have our golfer. Now they are in mid-swing. Wow, this is a really good drawing. Where this is now moving from where it once was. And we have kinetic energy. We have kinetic energy because this golf club is now in motion. Now with this down here, this is still at potential. Because it's at rest. But has the potential to move. Next frame here. Oof. All right, so it's hit and the ball goes flying. So our golfer hits the ball and we have kinetic energy from this going around. And now our ball also has kinetic energy. So potential turned into kinetic, which turned this potential into kinetic. Energy is not created or destroyed, only converted from one type to another. So you're going to have a short little worksheet that's going to be on Google Forms that you're going to turn in over the law of conservation of energy. All right, good luck.